Welcome to the podcast, Wizards of Waverly Pod.
Are you picking your nose with the microphone?
No,
What's happening?
I'm trying to have it stay up. I'm trying to have it stay.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a pill for that.
I can't. Hold on. I'm gonna. There's a pill for that.
I was like,
she's talking about Viagra.
Which was originally for blood pressure.
Okay, wait a minute. You said some people like when I say
no. So you were going
Disney, and some people don't.
You were like doing this like mouth thing, and I was like, your Disney is very polarizing. Some people love it, and some people really hate it. And there was somebody that was commenting on like one of our episodes way back that was like, can he stop it? It's driving me crazy. It's ruining the episode for me. And you know what I said?
I like it.
No. You know what I said? I said he enjoys it. Let him have his fun.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah. If it makes you happy, it makes me happy. And it makes you happy. So.
It does make me happy.
Yeah.
Because
some episodes you do it too much.
Disney.
Some episodes I'm like, okay, we've done it 6 times. Chill out.
I will try.
Okay, what's the thing
for the half of the people that don't like
everybody.
I'm gonna try not to.
Here's
say
the thing:
it
you
this
can't.
episode.
There's always gonna be someone's like, but I miss it. Where'd it go? You can't please everybody.
Wow,
so do your thing. Do what makes you happy.
It's gonna be there.
What do I do that drives you nuts? Not that the Disney doesn't drive me nuts, but like, what's the thing?
I can't tell you that, Jen.
Why not? I want to know.
This is like a real moment. You really?
Yeah. What do I do that drives you insane?
It's not insane.
Yeah. You're like, oh God.
You're not gonna lie.
No, I really want to know. I like constructive criticism.
You're very concerned about your hair.
Okay.
You do your hair.
I flip
back,
my hair. Yeah.
You do your hair, and I think it's just your thing that you like to do. I love your hair the way that it is, but does it get in your face?
It does. You know what it is? It comes around my neck and it bothers me. Like that feeling of it on my neck, like really. So that's why I flip it. Just because I'm trying to get it off my neck. Honestly,
now that I've said that and you've said that, you touching your hair is going to make you think of me saying that.
It is.
And when I say Disney, I'm going to think of half the fucking people that
I don't want to make. It's not to make us self-conscious, but it's normally in my real life. I have my hair up because having my hair down makes me crazy. So like this, like I'm just like, get it off me. That's why like I mess with my hair so much because I just want it away from my business.
It's also, there's a, what is it? Listen, if you watch Beverly Hills Housewives, like I do.
I love that you're such a diehard fan.
There's a lot.
Now I'm going to be, now I am going to be self-conscious.
You asked.
I did. I'm not faulting you for it. I'm not faulting you for it. I just, now I'm going to be aware of it. Okay. We're starting way off topic. So this episode, as we do, sometimes we have an aside and some people love the aside and some people don't. Can't please everybody. Okay.
Right.
So speaking of this is a horrible transition, but speaking of not pleasing everybody, sometimes Alex doesn't please everybody because she gets stuck in the middle of
Alex is in the middle.
Anyway, that didn't connect at all. Anyway, Alex in the Middle is the episode we're talking about today, which is the 16th episode of season 1 of Wizards Waverly Place. And the 16th episode aired on June 15th, 2008. It's about Jerry's zany brother, Kelbo Russo, played by Jeff Garlin, which is the first time we see Kelbo.
Right, and I think he did total 4 episodes.
Like 3, 4, yeah. Showing up in a clawfoot bathtub.
Yeah.
And like an old school, like 1900s, like striped bathing suit.
Yeah, like a bathing suit that covers the whole body.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Yeah, comedy. Never address it. We never did we talk about why he shows up in a bathtub?
No, I think there's a lot of stuff that Peter Marietta
like
wanted to not address and just be silly and fun. I think probably Jeff and Peter were like, maybe he should just pop up in a bathtub or something,
Yeah, which I'm sure they met at like Second City back in Chicago.
Yeah,
and that's where I feel like Peter got a lot of like a really great like comedy guest stars. Like
Yes.
So like I said, this is the first appearance of Jeff. He appeared in 3 episodes. Most people know him from like Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Goldbergs, or moonlighting as Shakira, which we later find out.
Oh my God!
Which we'll get to that
loved
episode.
The Shakira episode.
I wasn't in it. I was so bummed because
fuck.
I was filming this decom movie, Harriet the Spy Blog Wars, which was like.
Was that fun? I saw that. I remember that.
It was fun to do, but
time?
it's cheesy. I mean, I had fun doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it, but it's very like they reinvented Harriet the Spy, which nobody needed to remake, and then she had like a blog because like that was big at the time.
Yeah,
it was very cheesy.
That was a while ago with blogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very dated.
Right. I didn't know when we were doing this what a decom. I was like, what's a decom? what is it?
Yeah,
it's a Disney Channel movie.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. It took me a little while. It took me a little while to figure out a lot of things.
Yeah, but you got up.
I thought I was taller.
You got up by episode 105, right? So this this wasn't the first fake phone call. You guys have been doing that gag for a bit, right?
No, yeah.
The beep boop beep beep.
Yeah, no.
Or did this come from Uncle Kelbo?
Jeff came in and decided it's really one of the funnier things that made me laugh. He takes his wand and he with his mouth goes beep bop boop boop.
Okay, so this was a Jeff thing.
Yeah, it was a Jeff thing.
Yeah.
So I don't dial my wand. Hold on. Hello.
Okay, but your dad did
I'm doing
this.
a podcast with Jeff. Hold on one second. What?
Your dad, here, my hair just to irritate you. But your dad did this gag where he would turn everything into a phone.
My dad would definitely turn everything into a phone, and also he would turn everything into like a makeup thing. If there are people who can't see me, I've opened my glasses case and I'm using it like a makeup thing. So that's the comedy, you know?
No, it's funny. No, the beep boop, I always thought was really funny. And then I think other people picked it up after Jeff started doing it and did it also as like a callback.
Ah, okay.
Later in the series. So like a callback to that joke.
And they added, when he's dialing, they added a little bit of special effect on his finger. Like what's happening.
Like he's dialing some kind of magic thing.
And I love that David Henry starts off giving his oral report, which is putting us all to sleep, even me. And then Selena goes to do her report. She's like, I didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, moving on to Jake.
Just don't address it. Did Jake give his oral? Did Max give his oral report?
I think he started
and then that's when Uncle Kelbo
something. Yeah, exactly.
Which, talking of Max and Uncle Kelbo is also the youngest and won the wizard competition. And this is really the first episode where they talk about the wizard competition in detail.
Yeah.
Like kind of the rules of it, basically.
Well, and this is not a spoiler, but I won the wizard competition.
Yeah.
And then because I couldn't marry a mortal woman being a wizard, I gave my powers to my brother Cowboy. Kelbo.
Larry Tate, where are you?
But it's interesting because I always said to people who didn't watch the show, I was like, yeah, no, I don't have powers. I lost all my power when I got married, is what I would say.
I'm sure some people loved. That was a very polarizing joke. Some people loved it and some people didn't.
Kind of comedy?
Like Disney. But yeah, so it was kind of Uncle Kelbo and Max were kind of had a parallel. But he was more adjacent to Alex, which we see in this episode because they buddy up.
Holy shit, Jen, I never really put that together. That Kelbo, I can't say
his name for shit.
Kelbo and Max were the youngest, and they both maybe were not the brightest, and you know,
they were kind of an amalgamation between Alex and Max. Like if they kind of morphed into one character, I felt like Kelbo was kind of that character.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
So he brings the kids different gifts when he comes in his bathtub, including opera gun. Oh no, not Disney gift.
Opera
gum. Excuse me.
David sings for a second. Oh, and then it was funny because you have to take the gum out, or else you're going to keep singing opera. So he puts it in the tinfoil and puts it in his pocket.
Which is
saves
super
it for later.
Gross,
but
But you need it for later, I guess.
Well,
he said he's going to use it for the talent show.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Jake gets a pipe.
Yeah, the leprechaun answer blower, I think is what they called it.
Where David asks 20 questions about who his secret admirer is.
Well, they can only do yes or no questions. It's kind of like
crystal ball.
Well, it's like a crystal. Well, not like this crystal ball.
No,
These are very
I meant an 8-ball, like
an
the
8-ball.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of too. Where it but even the 8-ball does the
ask again,
you'll ask
we're not
again,
sure.
or soon you'll know, or some vague shit. And then the emotoscope for Alex, which shows you how people are really feeling.
Oh my God, it made me laugh so hard because you see a normal face, and then you see on the inside of the emotoscope, you see what the real feeling is, and I'm angry and angry.
Yeah. I loved it. So if you had an emotoscope, and who would you use it on to see what they were?
All of my fans. On Tony, my dog.
On Tony.
I
feel like he would be, because what was Max just happy the whole time? I feel like Tony would just be happy the whole time.
Well, I hope he's happy the whole time. But sometimes, every once in a while, my dog is, he's a mini dachshund. He's 1.5 years. And sometimes he looks at you and you're not quite sure. You're like, do you want to eat, drink, pee, poo, what's going on?
Yeah.
Play? I'm not quite sure. So I would definitely use it on Tony. I'm usually in touch with how he's feeling or what he wants.
Tony?
I am.
Yeah.
But I would probably use it on him. Who would you use the emotoscope on?
I would use it on my patients.
Oh, wow.
So that way first of all, I could tell if they're about to blow up or not. Because sometimes people come and they're really...
Blow up or throw up?
Either. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, throw up's a little easier because there's signs. But, like, because I get people on their worst day, right? So having something kind of just to get a heads up of, like, if they're fighting something else somewhere else and they're about to... Because nurses get a lot of, like, projection, right? Like, we're receptacles to a lot of people's shit, right?
Blow up, like get mad.
Like, get mad. What do you think I meant?
I thought they were going to explode. I don't know.
Oh, you know that condition where you just spontaneously combust, which is a thing, I guess. But no,
There's
like
something wrong with me, everybody.
they knew that. No, but like
Do a lot of people get mad when you're...
these days, yeah. Like there's a lot of... We deal with a lot of people getting aggressive and misplacing it where they because like I said, whatever the emotion, it's really easy to project it towards us and we're not the best place to project it. But also too, like if someone's really upset or sad, it's kind of hard, especially after a 12-hour day and going between a lot of different emotions with people. It's hard to gauge kind of what the true meaning behind it is. So to have kind of an inside peek into that would be a huge help to sort of cut through where meet them in the middle of kind of like, okay, what do you really need right now? Because you're projecting a lot of things and I'm a human being and I have emotions too and I like don't really know what you're feeling. So to be able to cut through that to know where they're really at and meet them there rather than the surface stuff would be a huge help. But yeah, so that's what I would use.
I'm going to order one on Amazon
Yeah,
for
right.
you.
I think it should all be in our kits. Okay, so I also love that on the monkey tails. So like Kelbo takes them to the zoo.
To the zoo and says but it's interesting because this is a real, I mean, the whole idea that Alex is in the middle is she wants Kelbo to be her teacher and not me anymore, which is really fucked up if you think about it. Jen almost did a spit take.
I almost did a spit take. Why do you think it's fucked up?
Because I'm the fucking teacher. I'm her dad. No, and he comes in and he uses magic willy-nilly and it's not okay.
I look at it this way. So when you have a substitute teacher that like doesn't make you do anything and you just play the whole time because there's a substitute teacher. It's a rainy day. You don't have to try. I think that's why she wants him to be your teacher because he plays all the time.
Right. Okay.
And you make her learn. You make her work. And when you learn something new, you learn a new skill. It's challenging. There's that like point that you hit where it's uncomfortable because you have to get past that challenging space. So I think that's why she wants him to be your teacher.
Yeah, no, I get it. And like you said, they went to the zoo and then they come back. And it's funny because
they have these stupid monkey tails. They didn't try on those at all.
But they literally just come in for the gag. They come in and they stand at the counter with their butts to the back. Yeah. So that we see the tail.
But literally, like the monkey tails are like, costume shop, like just like put them in your pants. Monkey tails, like they're so like they just were like, oh, it's a gag, whatever. Yeah. Like they were so
silly. It was very silly.
They were not great quality monkey tails. So after showing different styles of wizard training, by actually letting them use their powers, Alex does want Uncle Kelbo to be her teacher. Sorry, Jerry.
Fucked up.
But Kelbo is unable to focus on their lessons, a lot like Alex, and everything turns into a mess when he and Alex open up a package of sea chimps from the wizard mail, which floods the magical air, and this is the part where chaos ensues, which it often does.
Don't they go to the basketball game first?
That's true.
I say I want to watch the basketball game, and she's like, I want to go there. And I did think this was kind of funny that the wizard box was in the scoreboard. The scoreboard.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
And they all had hold their ears because the horn would go,
so
and then also there was the cranium revolvis.
Oh, where the head spins.
If you held your head, your head wouldn't revolve.
Well, what was the point of that spell? Just to have your head spin
around?
Because
Kelbo enjoyed doing that.
Just screwing with people. What game would you want to go see? What game would you want to be in? What sport would you want to see? I'm not a sports person, so.
Well, I'm into soccer now.
Oh, okay.
So Borussia Mönchengladbach is my team, which is also my father-in-law and mother-in-law's team and Yulia's team, Borussia, they're great soccer team. And I went to one game live in Germany, and it was pretty awesome.
Well, in soccer, like, you don't even have to like soccer, but going to a game, like, they're so involved and passionate and, like.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Because football is stop and start, and you're waiting, and you're this, and you're that.
Yeah.
Soccer, just as they call it, is foosball, but football.
It's real football. It's real,
So-
because our American football doesn't make sense why it's called football, because you kick it once and then you never touch your foot to it again.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
Makes no friggin'
But
sense.
it's exciting the whole time.
Yeah.
I love watching soccer now because it's you can't answer the phone, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't do anything. You got to be in there the whole time watching the game. Which I like.
Yeah.
And there's no commercials until it's halftime.
That part's nice.
You gotta watch the whole half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would do. I mean, there's not really a scoreboard, I guess, but I like boxing. I like boxing or like MMA.
Really?
Yeah.
This is something I didn't know about you.
Yeah. I don't know why I've always been fascinated by it, but
I do like watching like the Instagrams and the TikToks where there's a fight or something.
The TTs?
And the TTs.
That's what David calls
and
them.
like a guy, will hit someone, they'll go down quick or something.
Oh, like a KO.
I love that you love the boxing. And
I think I'm fascinated by the training of it. I don't know why that captures me for some reason.
they're dedicated.
But all athletes are dedicated. But I think there's just something about especially like MMA, like it takes, and I have a friend of mine that does it, and it just takes your entire body, and the fact that you have nothing else to defend yourself but yourself. I think I'm so fascinated by that. And like boxing, the stamina it takes and just those short like intervals is so fascinating to me. So, but
tough.
Anyway,
you ever get into a fight? Have you ever punched someone? Have you been into a physical fight?
With my words. I fight them with my punching
with
sharp
my words and my cuteness.
My sardonic wit. That's what I fight people with. So
we're in the layer and Kelbo has Selena open the the male
chipmunks.
The what are they called? The
sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys. And
can you imagine if you opened it and chipmunks came out of it?
Chippendale. And water comes out. He tries to stop it, and then
it's just like more water comes out.
More water comes out. And I've talked about this before. Well, first of all, I did a slip and fall in this episode where the pies went up.
Yeah.
I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
I showed Yulia again. I rewatched it. I rewatched the rewatch of it. And I pride myself on being able to do physical comedy. And
you're great at physical comedy.
Thank you, Jennifer.
It gave me flashbacks to New Employee where you helped me so much with, because I had a similar slip and fall with the trays.
Yeah.
And it reminded me so much, because what it reminded me of you showing me how to do my slip and fall, and then basically you being like, when the teacher goes, so this is how you do it, and then they show you and you're like, oh, that's how it's done. So that was my that's how it's done moment when I saw you do it with the trays.
It was a good time.
Yeah. No, like you're every time I get to see you do physical comedy, it is such a treat.
Thank you, Jen Stone.
No, it's true. Because not only do I get to see you do something that you're really good at, but I also get to see just somebody that is doing something that they love. Because every time I could see, like, you are a big kid, and that's one of the things I love about you, but you also just get to see the excitement in your eyes. So it's like a kid at Christmas when you like have that script to play with and like to play out.
I was a huge fan of Chaplin and Buster Keaton. And I mean, I'm not comparing myself to them, but like the physicality of their work was so amazing. And I love that I got to slip and throw up pies and have them land on me, and it looked good.
No, it did.
So I was happy.
It played really well. What do you think is the key to physical comedy? I know it's like hard to like summarize into one thing, but
just making it as real as possible. If you are seen setting up what's happening, then that's a problem. So being unaware of it, like if I'm gonna walk into something, or if I'm going to bump my head on something, it's good if you look away. If you're looking away and then you hit into it,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
You can't anticipate it.
Yes, the anticipation. My dad did a movie called Cannonball Run, And in Cannonball Run, he plays Captain Chaos. He's like his own
Yeah,
version of
yeah,
a
yeah.
superhero. And they're having a big fight scene, and he was supposed to get hit with a pot, a breakaway pot. And he's standing there, and he knows it's coming. So you see him blink a little bit, and he's like, oh, it's coming, you know? And then he gets hit. So it wasn't terrible, but I could see my dad anticipating a little bit. So I think
he was human. He was kind of like, he was so good in so many things. So he had to give him a moment.
Cannonball Run, funny. Cannonball Run 2, funny. Not so much with the holding up. Like the one thing I will say though is with the Cannonball, watch the outtakes. The outtakes are so funny.
Yeah.
I dare anybody to watch those and not laugh, you know?
Yeah.
So after I slip and fall in this, and I have pies all over me, the reason why I slipped and fell is because there's water coming out of the layer into the kitchen.
Monkeys.
And I say, I'll be right back. And I leave and I come right back and I'm in full scuba gear.
Well, like a full-on cartoon.
Yeah. And this is where I was up on, they hoisted me up.
Yeah.
And I was pretending to swim.
Which you did the green screen really well. Because we've had moments in the show, and I'm not going to call them out, but we've had moments in the show where people have been on the green screen and you can tell they're just like you can see the harness. They don't try to play off the harness at all. There's a moment I have that I don't love that we'll get to later where it was Harper Knows, where I'm like, we were in a chair for the in space moment. And I remember, like, you can totally tell I'm in a chair. And I felt like I didn't play that off well at all. So yeah, the green screen wire stuff was tricky because you had to make sure that you weren't, it's the Sandra Bullock in Gravity, where you have to play like you're not in space or play like you're, not underwater or whatever. And so you played it off really nicely.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I think I've already said this and people know this, but I had to pee really bad. And there's no,
it never fails when you're in a harness.
Yeah, you can't, I was in the harness. I was in a wetsuit. I had all the scuba gear on and everything. It was silly.
It never fails. Even if you pee right before, I think it's something about just like pulling up on your bladder that your bladder's like, and you just have to pee again. And then you're stuck up there the whole time. And then you don't want to come down because then you hold up everybody.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's more work
like,
for everyone. So you're just like, I'll just get a UTI. It's fine.
Well, and back to the
B storyline.
No, but Selena and Jeff turn into these sea monkeys.
Well, hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh.
Because remember, Max and Justin have this whole thing with the lunch lady, right? Because Alex and Kelbo, well, I think it's just more Alex, is doing this prank on Justin.
Is putting like romantic notes into his locker mess with him.
Yeah, these fake love letters from the lunch lady when really they're from Alex.
Right.
And then this is when we have this great cameo from Coach, who plays Coach Gunderson, for Eric Allen Kramer,
who played the dad on Good Luck
which
Charlie.
You guys kind of had a bit of a rivalry. A dad.
Well, there's a lot of like, who's the best Disney dad? Me or Eric? And I win some and I lose some.
Did you guys ever audition together?
Yes, I actually was in Robin Hood Men in Tights where he played Little John, and we didn't audition for that, but Mel Brooks produced that and gave me a line in the movie where Carrie Elwes and David Chappelle are giving a speech, and they're trying to rile up the people, and he says, "Are you with me, yay or nay?" And I go, "Which one means yes?" That was that was my big line. Thank you, Mel, for putting me in the movie. I appreciate it. Eric was in that, and we both auditioned against each other for what he got was American Pie 2 or 3.
Okay,
but. You had to wear assless chaps. And let me tell you, Eric has a nice ass. But I was ready to do that. It was between me and him.
Did he wear them to the audition?
No, I didn't wear ass. I don't know.
Did
Maybe
he?
he did.
That's why he got the job.
That's a good question. We'll have to ask him. Yeah, we had auditioned against each other for quite a few
I feel like
things,
that's a really common thing for actors. It's like it's a very small group. Like I know me and Jennette McCurdy, like back when we were like, it's a small town. So like you kind of audition with the same people. Like me and Jennette auditioned a bunch together. I auditioned with like Jennifer Lawrence. Like a lot of us audition together, and it's always really interesting. And like Brie Larson too. Like it's always just interesting to see like who kind of finds their pocket and which places and when people hit at different times. It's just interesting.
I auditioned against Jack Black for
I could see that.
High Fidelity.
Yeah, you've told me the
And
story
I was
before.
very close, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Jack Black. I think he's so great.
How can you not?
And he fit that movie so well. But there are a lot of auditions that I went on, and I was like, no, I didn't do that. Like my brother Peter auditioned for Back to the Future to be Biff.
Oh, I could see that too.
Yeah, and they actually asked him recently because they put out like a special DVD with everybody's auditions, and we got to see his audition, which was pretty interesting.
Oh, I want to see that.
It's on the DVD extra, or maybe not DVD, but like the special, re-release
I'll
of
try
that.
to find it.
But Eric Stoltz was 3 weeks shooting that movie. Yeah.
And then got fired.
Yeah, and I just watched the...
Because wasn't he doing method acting, and everyone was like, "No, I'm not gonna do this."
Oh, maybe.
I remember hearing that where it was something where the director, somebody on set, like I said, don't quote me on this,
Zemeckis, yeah.
was just like, "Why? What? We're not doing method acting. Stop it."
And it's interesting because I saw the documentary, which everybody should see, about Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet, but I want to.
They wanted him, and he was on Family Ties.
Well, he was so in demand at that time.
Yeah, well, he was on the show, and then they went to the creator of the show, and they said, can we please have him? And so on his days off and at night, he was shooting the TV show and the movie at the same time.
It's a good problem, but yeah.
That's intense.
It is intense.
He literally said
lot.
he was like from set to, he would sleep in the car and memorize his lines in the car.
Family Ties was 4-camera, wasn't it?
Family Ties, yes, a sitcom.
Okay. So at least because single camera sitcoms are longer days, but 4-camera still can be, especially if there's no kids on set, they can still be long days.
Yeah, and I don't know the creator's name or whatever, but he was like, "You're not going to miss one day of the show, but I'll let you do the movie."
Hey, the fact that they let him do the movie, because I know, especially with Disney, once you were on Disney, you were on Disney.
Yeah, they owned you.
Okay, so Coach Gunderson or Eric Allen Kramer comes.
I'm sorry, Jen.
Yeah, what's that?
Eric did a good job.
He did a great job. Why are you saying sorry?
No, but I just didn't want to interrupt you. But he comes in and he's mad at David for flirting with his girlfriend, the lunch lady.
Yeah.
He's like, the lunch, and he doesn't say a name. He goes, "My girlfriend's the lunch lady,"
Yeah.
And he really took not a lot and made a nice
something.
meal out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't
it was
push.
Really good.
He really found that sweet spot of finding the funny in it, finding the comedy, but not pushing too much. Because sometimes, and we talked to Bob about that, how sometimes co-stars or guest stars would come on the show and they try to make everything a joke.
Yeah.
Which for the overall story doesn't serve the overall story.
Right.
Because then you just have a person who's coming in here and they're like a court jester where everything's a joke. It's too much.
It's not about them. It's not about.
Well, it's not about
that.
any one character.
Right.
We all have to serve a greater purpose. And so he came in and found his gags, served his purpose, and hit that sweet spot really nicely.
Yeah.
So good
It
on
was
him.
interesting for me too because Eric was Little John. He had a big part in Robin Hood, and he also was in the American Pie.
Yeah.
And maybe I might sound like a little bit of a dick here, but he came to do my show. You know what I mean? Like he was doing a guest on my show, which made me feel good, but it didn't really matter. But it really I don't know. Do you feel a little competition-y with some of the people that are in your group kind of thing?
Sometimes. I mean, I think I'm competitive, but I think it's like a healthy competition, and I'm a big believer that everybody gets the parts that are theirs.
Right.
Because I think otherwise you go insane. I think you go insane in this business if you look at something. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, there's parts that I was like, man, I'd love to do that, but I also look at it and go, okay, but it just wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I have moments where I'm like, a playful competition sometimes, but overall, it's more of just it wasn't meant for me.
It's so interesting.
Because otherwise, I would lose my mind.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just also so interesting to me that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Anne Bancroft turned down Nurse Ratched.
Yeah.
But
also too and forgive me, I don't know off the top of my head the actress's name, but and she won an Oscar for that role, but she was forever known as Nurse Ratched.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Vivian Lee thing, where I know David Fincher said this to Rooney Mara after Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where he said, "Look, this is going to be your Scarlett O'Hara. Like, you're going to forever be Elizabeth Salander. You're going to be this character. Everyone's, no matter what you do after this, it will be good work. But people are always going to say this role.
Well, everybody says I'm Jerry Russo, right?
Yeah.
I even say Jerry Russo. I say, hi, this is David DeLuise, a.k.a. Jerry Russo.
But I think
I
think it's an interesting thing because you didn't know that when you took the job. And I didn't know that when I took this job.
I didn't.
But I think it's
like,
an interesting thing
saying.
beforehand of accepting a job of going, hey, before you do this, just so you know, this will probably be the role people know you for.
Right.
That's an interesting thing to
Not
be able to say yes or no to that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because a lot of time I think it happens in retrospect.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay, back to the episode.
Alex in the middle, everybody.
Okay, so after we get rid of Juliet's dad from Good Luck Charlie, all the crossovers, since Disney loved a crossover episode, but that was an unintentional one.
Right.
So Jerry discovers what Alex and Kelbo were doing in his full scuba gear. And you do the classic DeLuise pratfall in the kitchen, which we already talked about. And then you go in to save them from the sea chimps.
And the sea monkeys with their faces.
It was so bad.
It looks so
Put it with the chandeliers.
Yeah.
Put it with the chandelier.
And I'm sorry, but it was just so odd.
It was a weird effect. I know, to me, that one goes into the vault of effects that weren't our best, like the tea party chandelier, the big-headed ear inflating.
Disagreed with you about the big head.
I know you love that one, but
the big head when she does the potion commotion.
I don't love it.
I was okay with it. Better than the sea monkeys to me.
Well, okay, fair. But the sea monkeys go with the chandelier for sure. Like the sea monkeys was not our finest special effects.
I totally agree.
You know, I think it's a little bit of a. Did you see the new Doctor Strange where the eyeball pops up at the end?
I love the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's great.
The new one was it was too many verses.
It was a lot of verses, but there's an effect at the end where he gets like a third eye, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is so bad." And
like the special effect of it
the
looked
special
bad.
effect was not great considering how big of a budget that movie is. But it was like they spent all their budget on everything else, and then we just saw that boop boop, like it just a little like didn't work. And I felt like we maybe spent our budget on maybe the rest of something else on the season. So then we got the little weird monkeys. Maybe just don't do it. You know what I mean? Maybe just have them floating, and we don't do the monkeys. It was weird. So the scuba stuff was on green screen, right?
Yes, and I wrote on my notes, I had to pee. I had to pee.
Okay, you had to TT on the pee-pee.
I had to TT on the pee-pee.
Oh my God. Okay. So in the end, after Alex and her brothers express surprise and confusion after Jerry saves Uncle Kelbo and Alex.
And Alex is shocked that my dad's not a wizard, but he knew how to solve the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone's shocked that you were able to save them.
And there was a moment where Maria says, Jerry gave up his powers to marry me,
which apparently they didn't know before, and the audience doesn't.
You would think it was a real sweet moment. Yeah, you would think we would have given each other a little kiss or a little something. We kind of like half hug. I wanted a little more out of that moment.
I mean, I feel like Disney parents are kind of half huggy type relationships.
Did Disney parents? Do you remember any Disney? Now I got to go back and rewatch all the other shows. But was there a thing where Disney parents didn't kiss?
Well, most of the time they were orphans, so that one of them was usually dead. So the fact that you were both alive was impressive.
Right.
But no, I felt like there wasn't a ton of. I mean, there was a lot of kissing amongst the kids. It was always like closed mouth rigor mortis kissing on Disney Channel. But that's
like 40s kissing too. Like
it was
back in
like
the
there's
day,
two separate beds.
You wouldn't open the mouth, but you would put your lips to the other lips and
because I remember when Dan and I had our like first kiss on the show. Like it was very strange. Like the weird caveats that we had to follow.
Did you guys talk about it beforehand? Did you say? Because I did a movie where I was like, I'm going to go right. Do you want to go left or, how do you want to?
I think so. I think we talked about it a little bit, but we don't have intimacy coordinators like we do now. We didn't then. So
there's just intimacy coordinators?
Yeah, this is a thing now.
I guess I haven't had a lot of intimacy stuff. There's someone who talks
it's a job now. It's literally a person that they're on set and they basically help you coordinate like a sex scene or a kissing scene or any kind of like intimate scene between two actors. And it's sort of like a buffer, which is good because there have been a lot of inappropriate things between actors where like one person will make an inappropriate suggestion or they'll cross that boundary. And it makes sense that this position now exists, and it's amazing that it didn't always, because if you don't have two professional people, it's too easy to cross that boundary.
Right.
In those moments. And so basically what this person does is help you coordinate and basically choreograph like a sex scene or a kissing scene.
Which is important. I just didn't know that job existed.
It's a job now.
But it is, you have to really work it out. Like, where do you want me to put my arms? And then, yeah.
Acting is a weird job, but it's a
almost
sex
like
scene or a
like
kissing
a dance
scene
kind
is
of
blocking,
thing,
or a Disney side hug.
Yeah.
It's blocking.
A Disney
An intimate side hug.
I don't think Maria and I ever kissed. I think in the movie we
You had to have kissed once.
I don't think so, Jen.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's in the movie when we're in the car on the way to the hotel, there was like a
quick peck.
Yeah.
Disney side peck.
I like a cheek peck, I think.
Okay.
Like, it's interesting.
That actually doesn't surprise me, for reasons. Anyway, so they go through the whole thing about how, Jerry gives up his powers so that way he's able to marry Teresa.
Which is a really nice thing.
It's lovely.
And how I really wanted this series to end.
I know.
Because when we had when we had Peter Marietta on, he said that he wanted a very similar thing to happen, which is Alex wins the competition and then gives her powers
to be with Mason.
To be with Mason, but gives her powers to Justin, which would have been the same thing that her dad did.
Yeah, that parallel would have been really, really beautiful.
Yeah, but I would have liked that. Hey, would you guys have liked that? ? What do you think? ?
I feel like the fans were split. I felt like sometimes, because after Peter's episode, I felt like some people are like, "Oh, that's the ending we deserved. That's the ending we really wanted."
Yeah, is that what people say? I don't really read the comments, so I don't know.
I kind of like a skim on it just to kind of see like if there's elements of the podcast people want to shift or change, or like what people are responding to. And there were some people that they really loved that ending, and there's some people that liked the way it ended. So I think like the Disney, it's kind of split. Which, you know what though? I
just stopped myself from doing it.
No, but
my brain hurt.
But I feel like, honestly though, I feel like that's when you're making the right decisions. I feel like if you make a decision that people are just kind of like, I'm indifferent, I don't have any feelings about it, that's not the right decision to make. If you have a feeling that people either love or hate, that's when you're making a good choice.
Yeah.
Because you're making a strong choice, right?
I agree with Jennifer Stone.
Okay, so this is the first mention of not the first mention of the Wizards competition, but more the mention of the rules of it, and kind of like the semantics, where basically siblings can win their wizard competition and keep their powers, but they can't marry non-wizards unless that said wizards give up their powers, and they can't have children with non-wizards unless they give up their powers. So those are two caveats we learned.
Very, very specific.
The competition's really specific, and like some of the fans have also said that Stevie had a point in trying to take down the Wizards competition because it's very like toxic to families, that it like puts like siblings against each other, and like it prevents you from being able to have like, kind of like in Harry Potter where you're talking about like
Muggles.
wizard and muggle relationships, and so it kind of the wizard competition's a little polarizing, I'm using that word a lot today.
But it is odd to think about, because, and I haven't really explored this, or I'm just talking off the top of my head here, but if you're a wizard, you can't be with a mortal. Mm-hmm. And you've won. And you've won the competition.
But you're not going to be a wizard because you either win or you don't have powers.
And you have to then be in a relationship with a wizard.
Yeah.
Or just have
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of like... I can't. No, but like that's the thing, is like it's kind of it's a little, cruel, kind of.
But that's the setup that they did. It's interesting. But you can be with a werewolf and you can be with a vampire.
But that's because they're in the middle of I guess that's true, but they're in the wizarding world.
Right.
So I guess that works. But also, too, they're in the wizard competition. They haven't won yet. They haven't gotten to the end yet. So maybe that's the caveat.
That makes sense.
Because they also, too, like once we get to the Juliet and Mason episodes, there's all these things where there's conflict and issues because, of course, if there's not conflict, then what's the fun in that?
Then we have a real problem.
Then we have a real problem bigger than sea monkeys. Okay, so Justin and Max feel it's dumb to give up your powers, of course, to some girl. But Alex actually finds the story really sweet, which Alex has her moments where she's, reflective and sweet instead of just being like, oh, God,
Right.
So she actually finds it really sweet and comes to her dad's defense and points out that if he hadn't done what he did, that none of them would exist.
True.
Obviously. And Jerry goes back to being their magic teacher, and Alex develops a greater respect and appreciation. So she comes full circle.
I know, which is very
nice. It starts
nice.
fucked up, and then she comes full circle.
It was a good moment. It was a good appreciating. Listen, being a parent is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Saying to your kids, go do whatever, stay out till whatever time, it doesn't matter. But if you say, well, you have to be home by 12 o'clock and you have to enforce that, it's hard on us, the parents, like making sure that you're showing your kids that you care,
Yeah.
So I do like this moment where Alex and Jerry, she has an appreciation for him.
Well, and my mom's, I'm sure you've experienced it too. I've experienced it with my parents. And the times I've really appreciated, because I'm stubborn and hard-headed. I get that from both of my parents. But I've always really appreciated the times where my parents have seen me coming up against something that they know is not what's best for me, but they've allowed me to entertain that or explore it. And it's hard for them. And my mom's told me this in hindsight or in retrospect. And she said, like, look, that was really hard for me to let you go and figure out that wasn't what was best for you.
Yeah, of course.
But I had to let you go and learn that for yourself, because I know that if I just told you no and tried to shield you from it, you would have done it tenfold worse and resented me and all that kind of thing. But because they trusted me enough to go fail on my own and then circle back, I respected them so much more for that. And that's what I feel like Jerry does in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does hurt him that she doesn't want him to be her teacher at the beginning, but then allows her to go off with Uncle Kelbo and see that
learn her lesson.
And learn, yeah.
A big way that we learn is by making a mistake, so that
but you also too, it's like respect is something that is earned, right? And it's something that it's like it's you have to give and take it. So I'm a big believer that kids, yes, you have to respect your parents, but at the same time too, I think sometimes you get more. It's like that whole concept. You get more with honey than you do with vinegar. So instead of just putting your kids in like a cage and telling your kids no to everything.
It's
sometimes, but I can't even imagine. I'm not a parent. I can't imagine how hard it is to know that they're going to fall and letting them fall.
Yeah, but parents, it's hard. I would say it's the spill the milk thing, right? So I can go over and I can pour the milk for my kids so they don't spill it. But if they don't spill it every once in a while, they're not going to know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You let them fail so they learn.
Right.
And it's giving and it's having the trust, because that's where it's like and in other ways too, but it's like I've developed a growing mutual respect for my parents because they've trusted me enough to be my own person and fail. And that's what I feel like Jerry does for his kids throughout the show.
It's funny your
both
take,
Teresa and Jerry.
Yeah, but your take on this episode is good, because I was like, I was feeling like Jerry, like my feelings were hurt, but it does come full circle, and I do like what you're saying, that Jerry allows her to go and be with him and learn the lesson.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, you just I know my mom has said you just have to trust that you've instilled your kids with what they have, with what they need to fail and recover. So the family ends back at the scoreboard. At the game.
Right, we all go to the game.
Yeah, you all go to the big game. And, Alex shows off the spell that Kelbo taught her.
And Max doesn't hold his head. And his whole head
spins around.
That was kind of interesting. I mean, it's not easy to do that effect.
No. Do you remember how did you guys do that effect? Because I wasn't there.
No, I held my head. I didn't rotate. But I think he just probably went, and turned his head to the right.
Oh, yeah.
And then turned his head to the... I'm not
and
sure.
They just spun it around.
Yeah.
You were there.
I don't remember how they did it.
It was yesterday. Come on. So, and at the end of every episode with Uncle Kelbo, they did a prank call, which I thought was such a fun, perfect for Kelbo touch.
And what did she say? is the refrigerator running?
Yeah, of course, which is the classic prank. Did you ever do prank calls?
Yes, the Jerky Boys.
Jerky boy. Oh my God, the Jerky Boys.
Yeah, the Crank Yankers or
Oh,
whatever. The Jerky Boys.
yeah,
They would, is Sal there? Salami? And hey, is there a salami here?
Oh my
is there
God.
a salami? But yes,
Yeah.
I did do.
What was your favorite prank call?
I think I mostly prank called like people from high school or something. I don't remember.
You don't remember what you did?
No, I don't.
Have
remember.
you seen? My favorite one was like it was from like the Z Morning Zoo show or it was like some radio show like back in 2012. The John Cena prank call. Have you seen this?
No.
Oh my God, I have to show it to you. It's so funny. It is. I think the husband sets up his wife or something, but they call this poor woman. She's like at home. It's the morning, and it's this ad. It's like a telephone ad for this like John Cena's gonna be doing this, and they keep calling her over and over and over again. And she starts off like, no, I'm not interested in this pay-per-view fight with
Right.
John Cena. And then they call her again. They're like, they say something like, can I say, is Champ there? She goes, Champ, who's Champ? He goes, well, that question will be answered Sunday with John Cena. And then she finally like is losing her mind and she's like, I swear to God, if you call one more time. And then they're like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Do you support the armed services? And she goes, oh my God, yes, I'm sorry. These people have been calling me all morning. And they're like, well, if you would like to support a member of the Marine Corps. And she goes, yes, absolutely. And she goes, well, John Cena. Like they keep like, it's so good. And you just watch her just progressively lose her mind. Okay. And to the point where she's just like, I swear to God. And then I think at the end they finally reveal and she's like, I'm sorry, I cursed. I didn't have my coffee yet.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so great. Like there's so many layers to it.
That's something that just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
You can't do a prank call.
Well, because I mean, I guess you kind of can because, well, I don't know, because they used to have like, you always have caller ID and stuff like that on your phone,
Right.
but now you have all these unlisted numbers calling on your phone.
It's something the way of the past, and I've said this, like not a lot of people know, the young'uns don't know what a busy signal is.
That's true.
You don't get a busy signal.
Sorry,
Okay.
Let's do our fan question.
Hi guys, my name is Mari and I'm very, very excited to be talking to you because I've always been a huge Wizards of Waverly Place fan. But I am Spanish. I grew up in Spain and still live in Spain. And of course I watch Wizards of Waverly Place in Spanish on TV because I didn't know English back then. So my question is, have you ever heard the voice actor that does your character in another language? And if you did, do you find it like weird, interesting? How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Like, I've never heard anything about this topic and I'm very curious. So thank you so much. Bye.
Oh, Mari, that was such a good question.
Yes.
And now I'm curious. I'm like, are you from the part of Spain where you speak Catalan or Spanish?
It's
now I'm so
interesting.
interested.
And I'm going right to this. In Spain, they have a lisp. Gracias. You know what I mean?
I don't think they consider it a lisp. It's like a...
Well, where it started from was there was royalty that had a lisp, and then it became very...
Like part of the dialect?
Yeah, it became very cool for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but that's what I know. But
Mari's going to be like, absolutely not.
Yeah, great question. Yes, I've seen Jerry Russo or myself and something else speak Spanish or German, Portuguese. I've seen a lot of that. And my wife is German and does a lot of dubbing for things from English into German. She'll write the scripts.
Yeah.
She'll direct the shows. And she also does the voices.
She was telling me I didn't realize this. She did a movie that I was in with Mean Girls 2.
Mean Girls 2, yeah, exactly.
She didn't do my voice, but she did another one of the characters in the movie, which I just thought was so funny. It's
so funny.
Small world.
Charles is a friend of ours, and he did my voice, not in Third Rock, but in these movies that I did, the Pup Star. And
in German?
Yeah, in German. And I'm learning German now, so there's no way I'm ever going to be fluent to do my own voice.
That's a hard language.
Germany.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to watch yourself, and also the tone of it is interesting. Like the person who does Tom Hanks sounds like Tom Hanks in German.
Yeah.
And what they're doing now is they're trying to buy people's voices. So I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but they did purchase James Earl Jones's voice.
Yeah.
So now they can use his voice
for Darth Vader.
and do whatever we want. Like our phones talk to us and sound like real people, but now they really sound like real people, and they're going to take like Morgan Freeman's voice, and they're going to take his tone, and then they're going to put it through the computer, and then they're going to have him speak all these different languages.
That's really cool.
Well, it's cool, but it takes all the jobs away from all the people
That's
that are.
true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
What I always find really peculiar about the dubbing is the pacing, because comedy is all about pacing, right? It's all about rhythm, and so. I barely speak English, but so sometimes like the pacing, I wonder about like how it's affected with the other. So even just hearing the other languages with the tempo and things, because languages have different tempos, different musicality.
Yeah,
and so like hitting that comedy at the same, I wonder how it like affects the beats. It seems different.
It is different, and there's different stuff, and there's stuff in English that doesn't make sense in different languages.
Sure.
And also
and jokes that don't carry.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to translate that. Like Yulia was doing a cartoon show, and there was a gag where you had Lord of the Rings, the Merlin or whatever. What's his name?
Oh,
can't believe I
My
can't remember.
Precious?
No,
Gandalf.
Gandalf, yes. Yeah. Gandalf's there, and he's like, "Fly, you fools, fly!" And there's a little fly buzzing around. So fly and fly or don't work. So she had to make a whole different joke out of that.
Jeez,
okay. So she had to come up with something.
I'm always fascinated with, because I was talking to one of the Spanish-speaking doctors at the hospital about how like certain like assessment questions don't translate. One of the ones that just there's not really like something culturally. Like I said, I don't speak Spanish, so if this is not correct, I'm sorry. But he was saying something that for some reason doesn't really translate as well is when did your symptoms start? Like for how long has this been going on? For some reason, it just doesn't. There's always like just a kind of a brief like lapse of like what?
Yeah.
Like just kind of like for whatever reason with Spanish, like it's just like of like when did your symptoms start? How long has this been going on? Like for some reason, there's just a disconnect with that assessment question.
Interesting. Have you heard yourself speak a different language?
Oh yeah. I've heard Russian, French, German.
Did the
Japanese
tone of the person who was doing your voice sound like you? Like
sometimes
you were speaking
yes, and sometimes no. I have a weird voice. I have a I don't know how to describe my own voice, but I've been told it's like a higher pitched, raspy voice. And sometimes they'll try to find someone that has like a raspy-ish voice, and then sometimes they just give up entirely, and it's just someone with like a high-pitched, energetic voice. So I always appreciate when they try to find the rasp in another language.
It's interesting though. It's interesting how I've listened to so many actors being dubbed into German now that I'm like, oh, well, that sounds like Johnny Depp, or that sounds like Tom Hanks.
So now you have like an ear for it.
Or Tom Cruise, or Nicolas Cage.
Oh my God. Okay, on that note, excellent question, and we will see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod. If you want to watch clips from the show, you can check out the Wizards Pod Clips YouTube channel, and the link is in the description. And if you just can't get enough Wizards, join our Patreon for exclusive bonus content. The link is in the description for that as well. I'll see you guys next week.